Court will now reconvene. I assume both sides are ready. Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. I can understand the defense acting like this. However, why do you also seem to be distraught, Mr. Edgeworth? It's nothing, Your Honor. What's wrong with Edgeworth? Looks like something unexpected just happened to him. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you could please tell the court the results of the handwriting analysis on Miss Impact's suicide note. Yes, Your Honor. Unfortunately, we have discovered that this suicide note is a forgery. Oh shit, I wasn't expecting that. What? What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? This note was not written by Miss Impacts herself. It is a fake. Order, order, order. Mr. Edgeworth, would you care to explain what's going on? If this was not written by Miss Impacts, then who wrote it? We would need more time to do a more detailed analysis. However, it appears that the handwriting matches that of the victim, Mr. Juan Corona. I didn't think the game would I thought of that as a possibility, but I didn't think the game would actually do that. Well, looks like Miss Impacts never left a suicide note after all. She never wrote anything about God. Mostly because this is kind of just padding at this point. Like, is this really adding anything? I guess? I don't know. You could have ended it without Gumshoe, without the dude escaping again. Unless well, I guess we'll see what the ending's like. However, Your Honor, even though this suicide note is indeed a fake, Mr. Ungard could not have known that, and so that facts remain unchanged. Acting under the assumption that it was real, he had plotted to possess it. That does sound very plausible. His theory that Ungard has no idea that the suicide was fake. Something seems a little wrong with it. The defense believes that the theory the prosecution has stated contradicts testimony. If everything the prosecution has proven up to this point is true, then it's impossible for Mr. Ungard to not have known it was a fake. What? Oh, that sentence. Oh, that sentence was awful. Maybe the camera, right? What is this little item called again? A video camera, Your Honor. Well, a very small one, but... Oh, that's right, a camera. You kids and your fancy toys nowadays. Mr. Edgeworth, earlier you claimed that Mr. Ungard knew of the existence of this note because he was spying on the victim, is that right? If that were true, then this means Mr. Ungard would have known that the victim had forged the note. So then the defendant knew this suicide note was a fake. And if that's true, then the situation has suddenly changed in a very dramatic way. Exactly, Your Honor. The prosecution's theory as to what Mr. Ungard's motive for murder was, it has suddenly disappeared into thin air. But, Your Honor, it's not as if Mr. Ungard monitored Mr. Corona 24 hours a day. Perhaps the victim wrote the note in a place Mr. Ungard didn't know of. Well, right back at you, Mr. Edgeworth. Why don't you show us some proof that the victim made the forgery at an unknown place? It looks like this time it is you who has dug his own grave. As I figured, it all came down to this after all. Mr. Edgeworth, you are not making any sense. When I heard the results of the handwriting analysis, I thought this might happen. The question is, what next? What next? If the prosecution can't prove Mr. Ungard's motive through the evidence, then we must prove it from another angle. Well, I agree with you there. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to call a witness to the stand at this time. Oh, well, that's fine, I guess. However, this witness is a little unusual. Edgeworth stuttering? This is not like him at all. Unusual. Well, what sort of witness is this person, Mr. Edgeworth? This witness is one who is perfectly fit to question once and for all the question of who was it that hired Shelly de Killer to commit murder? That's impossible. Who in the... No such person exists who can answer that question with such certainty. Yes, Mr. Edgeworth, who is this witness? It is, is it who I think it is? Is it who I think it is? Yes, go on, who is it? The man himself, Mr. Shelly de Killer. Oh, Mr. de Killer. How do they don't have him? Like, I was like, he's not gonna call some person they don't actually have, will they? Wait, Shelly de Killer? You mean the killer? I mean the assassin. Yes, Your Honor. He's coming here to the witness stand? Well, yes, in a matter of speaking. I recognize that this is a very unusual circumstance, so I ask for your permission. Well, Mr. Wright? Yes? Is this alright with you? Do I have a choice here? I can't really do much else to drag this trial out. Defense has no objections, Your Honor. I wonder if it really is alright to do this. Very well, then the prosecution calls its witness on the stand. Edgeworth, is there no other way left to us? Now then, witness. Your name and your, occupation, please. Oh, God. Very good, sir. My name is Shelly de Killer, and I am a professional assassin. I say, what is going on here? Your Honor? How can you remain so calm, and what is the meaning of this two-way radio? This is... You're ready for the witness to be Shoo? Meow! And Shoo, tell me, did you see that suicide note being written? Meow! Did he monitor one corridor 24 hours? Meow! See? He agreed with me. No, that was clearly an objection to what you said. Actually, Your Honor, it was just delivered to me just now, and it came with a condition. As long as we do not trace its source, Mr. de Killer will testify to this court. This must be what that urgent phone call he got earlier was about. Oh no, this will not do. I cannot allow this in my court, nor should you. First of all, we can't even be sure this is really Mr. de Killer himself. Exactly. That's like a huge fucking problem. Witness, please present some sort of proof that you are in fact Shelly de Killer. I understand. Please wait a second. I'm so hungry. Maya! Maya! A voice. Mr. Wright, can you confirm anything from this? The defense has no objections to this person. We are satisfied that this man is indeed Shelly de Killer. The judge doesn't have to, though. The judge can say you're both fucking nuts. I'm not allowing this. It looks like we have run into yet another unexpected turn of events. Well, it doesn't seem like we have too many choices under these circumstances, so. Now then, witness. There is one thing I would like to confirm before we speak of anything else. And what would that be? At the request of a client, you killed Mr. Juan Corda, is this correct? It is as you say, I did indeed kill Mr. Corda. Oh, Now that we have answered that, let's move on to the name of your client. Very well. This is all just a bad dream. Yes, that's it, a bad dream. Shelly de Killer. What's he going to say? It was Mr. Phoenix Wright. Video chat can be legal, but there's some issues with it. It's not preferred by judges, and if people can get there, the judges want them there. In cases where there's a little less of an issue, or for some reason video isn't available, there are some cases where they also allow telephonic appearances. There's something I must first state. To an assassin, nothing is more important than the trust between a client and himself. And that is the reason I am here today on this witness stand. It is my wish that you grasp this concept before I give you the name of my client. Mr. de Killer seems to be a very clever man. I'd almost say... While he may appear to be our enemy, Your Honor, Mr. de Killer is only stating the truth. He is no hypocrite. He has always stood by his one belief. You mean about this trust between his client and himself thing? It seems to be a level of trust beyond what people like me can comprehend. Now then, everyone, you think you can understand my logic? If you can't, then I'm afraid we can't proceed. Everyone understands your point, I think. Really? In that case, I believe I am prepared to disclose the information you seek. You have made it crystal clear that you value trust over all else. I believe we are ready. Excellent. Now then, I do believe it's about time I revealed the name of my client. Don't you agree? What is it? Now I can't bring myself to ask the client's name. If you can't ask it, Mr. Wright, then I will. Witness, it's so obvious who he's gonna say. What is the name of your client who requested the murder of Mr. Juan Corda? The person's name is...
Adrian Andrews.
Dude, he literally just told you who he was going to say by talking about framing, and they're all just like, what? Witness. That's not who you told me it was earlier.
Rachel, what are you talking about, Mr. Prosecutor? I should think I know my own client, and it is Adrian Andrews.
What? This can't be on the phone earlier. What's going on here? My guess is that Mr. de Killer just stabbed Mr. Edgeworth in the back. Stabbed Edgeworth in the back? I'm sure in order to get an audience with this court, Mr. de Killer told him a different name. Met on guard, perhaps? I knew it. This is outrageous. I was deceived. Oh, by an assassin, you don't fucking say. By an assassin that was hired by the defense's client, the person you're trying to put in jail. No fucking kidding. Okay, what? This witness is telling a very serious lie, but you were the one who summoned this witness. You, Shelly de Killer.
My testimony is the truth. The defendant at the moment is not on guard. Am I correct? All I wish to do is help to procure his acquittal.
Wow. All of a sudden it feels like we can actually win this. Yeah. I love how the radio moves around like it's all happy. The prosecution has failed to provide a motive and has instead provided this suicide note, which is a forgery created by the victim. Furthermore, there is a possibility the defendant himself knew it was a fake. But most definitive of all, we have heard from the assassin himself the name of his client. 100%. Yeah, stabbed in the back by assassin. Who would have guessed that would have happened? Yeah, he would have to treat the witness as an adverse witness or a hostile witness. Mr. de Killer's client who requested the murder was not the defendant at all. No. With all this evidence, it is obvious to me that this means that Mr. Mad on Guard is innocent.
This seemed to have caused you all a bit of confusion. Please continue your discussion and call me when you have reached a verdict.
Bailiff, please bring Miss Adrian Andrews in immediately. What now? With the way this is going, and God will be found innocent. This may be our last chance to save Maya. Yeah, but Edgeworth is right. The killer is lying. And on guard, my client, I know he's guilty. You know, and I keep dancing around the fact that I'm going to be sending someone else to their death instead. Because if Adrian Andrews is found to be guilty, she's probably going to die. Or be in prison forever. Like, they talk about Maya and on guard, but never about Adrian Andrews, and that's weird. Can I live with myself if I win this? Who would have believed that the prosecution's own witness would absolve the defendant? Your Honor, the prosecution requests permission to further question the witness. Shelly de Killer is certainly lying under oath. It wasn't me. Listen, everyone, please. That testimony just now, it was all one big lie. Miss Andrews, the suicide note may have been a fake, but that man, Matt, he's the reason Celeste died. And Juan's death, it was all because he got pulled into Matt's twisted world. That testimony just now, you have to believe me, it was a horrible, horrible lie. But Mr. de Killer himself has testified. He has named you as his client. No, that's not true. Also, there's quite a bit of evidence that points to you. The knife and button donning the nickel samurai costume. But that's... You even have a motive. We know that Miss Celeste Impacts was a large part of your life. You wanted to follow her and you wanted revenge against the two who hurt her. I would say you have plenty of reasons to want them both dead. No. Mr. Wright. You know the truth. Tell them. Tell them the real story, who the real killer is. Tell them. Please help me. Oh my God. Ah. Yes, I know the truth. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor? I believe we have reached the end of this trial. Therefore, I ask the defense for any final words or opinions. Do I take the not guilty verdict and save Maya? Or do I throw this chance away and wait for Gumshoe's new evidence? What am I supposed to do? Phoenix. I can't do it, Mia. I can't accept a not guilty. You are a lawyer. I know, but Matt on guard is a killer, a murderer. I can't let him get away with this. And I can't let someone else take the fall. I was just about to say, if he doesn't mention that, he's a fucking, he's not as good of a person as it seems. Because, like, you can't have one without the other in that situation, right? Because if he gets away with it and they found someone else guilty, then that person is an innocent person who's found guilty. If I let Miss Andrews be convicted, then I'm no better than on guard. And even though I don't want to admit it, I have to face the fact that it is because of Edgeworth that I know now the real truth. He could have gotten on guard convicted so many times over, but he never took a single one of those chances. If I take this verdict right now, I'd be betraying his trust. His trust? I never thought about it until now. I trust him? Yes, you do. Get out of my head! Mr. Wright, your opinion, please. The defense requests that we be allowed to further question Mr. de Killer. Am I hearing you correctly, Mr. Wright? Right? But, that witness has cleared your client through his testimony. Your job here is done. Walk away and take the W, son. I'm not done yet. To see through witnesses' lies and find the truth. That is my job, Your Honor. Yeah, actually, as a defense attorney, and this is the issue, your job is to defend your client ethically. And that's it. That's it. Full stop. It is Edgeworth's job to do that. Find the correct guilty party, not just get a guilty verdict. There's still more evidence to look at, and I'm sure that once those pieces arrive here in this very courtroom, a miracle will occur. Oh God, now we have to hope for a miracle. Great. Very well, the trial will continue. Mr. Edgeworth, please reestablish connection with Mr. de Killer. Right away, Your Honor.
Has a verdict been reached?
Before that, we would like to talk with you a little more.
About? All you needed from me was the name of my client. What else could you need from me?
Well, actually, we would like to hear everything you know about this case. That is how things are usually done. What is he talking about? Usually done? But what shall we have him testify about now? Mr. de Killer, if you don't mind, please testify about your client in more detail.
You legal people and your procedures. Is it any wonder no one likes to go to court?
That's not a lie. There are no lies detected there.
As I have already stated quite a few times, Adrian Andrews is my client. However, one thing I simply cannot overlook is tampering with the scene of the crime. My client did it to frame another for the crime, while pretending to be the first person to discover the body and enter the scene. Adrian Andrews already knew from the very beginning that Juan Cordo was dead. But even more appalling is the creation and planning of the knife and button. That act is what I was referring to when I said the client had broken the rules.
This is a most unexpected turn of events for fifth time now. However, this time everything has finally been revealed. Just a second, Your Honor. Yes, Mr. Edgeworth, we still have the cross-examination to do, but you don't need to question testimony like this, do you, Mr. Wright? Your Honor, the defense will question the witness if I have a choice here. Huh? Why? What this witness has said is nothing but beneficial to the defense's case. If you scrutinize the testimony, then I'll expose the lies in the oh-so-beneficial testimony, I suppose. I don't understand what's going on anymore. That makes two of us. One other interesting thing to point out is I've seen circumstances where there has been a question as to whether an attorney was properly representing their client, and in this case, the client was a state agency, a county agency, and the judge was furious because he thought that the attorney might not have been properly representing their client. So it could be that in a situation like this, he just wouldn't let Phoenix question him. What is it, Mr. Wright? If I press him the wrong way, it might raise suspicions on his end. But I have to do something to waste more time. Witness, about requesting it.
Yes?
How much is your fee?
I see you are also quite a dark-hearted man, Mr. Attorney.
Huh?
If you would like to talk business, we can do so after the trial.
Ugh, no. I'm not thinking of Mr. Wright. Yes? You want to kill me. You want me dead, don't you? Yes, I do. What? Why would you think something like that, Your Honor? Guilty, Mr. Phoenix Wright. You are hereby declared guilty. Let's continue. Why'd you disclose the name of your client? They're your client, are they not? He doesn't talk about her specifically here. I would think that most people wouldn't be able to overlook a person hiring another to kill.
If I had a problem with such a thing, I wouldn't be very effective at my job.
Yeah. Well, a change in occupation might be good for you.
However, I will say this. Even though I am the one that does the deed, my clients are always the real guilty party.
Oh, God. That goes without saying, Mr. de Killer. No, they're both guilty fucking parties. It's not just, oh, it's really them. No, it's both of them.
And their fate is to live with the knowledge of their guilt on their shoulders. However, my client this time thought they could run away from their guilt.
Are you talking about the button and the knife?
Yes, and my business card.
Oh, this card.
So that no one has to waste their time, including the police. I always make it a point to make things as easy as possible.
You try to make things easy?
My business card makes it very easy to identify who carried out the service.
It's pretty devoted to his work.
But to disregard everything to go and stab the deceased with a knife, and even hide my card from sight, that is something I cannot overlook.
It's really hard to tell if he's being truthful or not without him being here. That's what I was talking about earlier. It is actually more difficult. You're saying most clients wouldn't do such a thing?
That is correct. Usually, most people will try to create an alibi for themselves. If you should use my services, Mr. Attorney, I would suggest you plan for your alibi too.
No, I already told you. I have no interest in using your services ever. Why does he keep looking at me like I'm the one on trial here? That's all you have to testify?
Yes, and I pray that I will never be called to the stand again.
Again, as in you plan to continue?
I must, as I have yet to find a person to take my place and become the fourth successor. Actually, how would you like a new life, Mr. Attorney?
Excuse me? No, I'm fine, really. Are you really now? I wonder what kind of man the judge thinks I am now. What are you going to do now, Phoenix? All I can do now is expose the lies. That's true. However, you realize that will be very bad for our clients, right? Ugh, I'm so confused. One thing I know for sure is I can't let this trial end yet. I have no idea what the fuck I'm supposed to do here. Because this is literally... Okay, it's not the exact opposite, but you're going against a lot of what the game and the series in general has built you up in. Now all I'm doing is trying to stall for time while not outright exposing lies, because then if I do that, then our client looks bad and then he's gonna kill Maya. I have to do two things. I have to not get a not guilty verdict, or I have to, avoid a not guilty verdict, but then also not do anything to incriminate my client too much. Otherwise the killer's gonna know and be onto what we're doing and kill Maya. That's what the game is presenting. Now, it's different if that other thing isn't actually true and all we're trying to do is avoid a not guilty verdict. But that's not what the game is presenting to us. So it's almost like we have to expose a lie that's not too big. 'Cause if I'm the killer, you try to expose me at all, I'm gonna think something's up and I'm gonna fucking murder and leave. This is the comment that seems the most out of place compared to all the other ones. She filled the tomato juice. So if the glass, you say, well, I didn't realize that he was dead because I poured myself a glass. But then the counter would be, well, she did it specifically to show that she was there to wait. I don't even remember what the... Oh, whatever. I don't remember what the... There was another counter. Now I can't even remember what it is. Thank you so much for taking the time to testify, Mr. de Killer.
What is the meaning of that attitude?
When Adrian Andrews entered the victim's room, Your client had no idea that Juan Corda had been murdered. But how? How do you know that? From this wine glass, Your Honor. The glass. Mr. de Killer's supposed client thought Mr. Corda had only fainted. Is why this glass of tomato juice is poured for the victim. But isn't that just a part of Adrian Andrews' calculated plan? Right, that was the whole thing. You want to make it seem like, oh, I just found him and I was dazed and confused. That's not possible, Your Honor. This glass bears the fingerprints of that person. Had this been planned, they would never have left their fingerprints behind. I see a point. Mr. Edgeworth, what is your opinion? Strangely enough, I had the same exact thought just now. Witness, how do you explain this strange phenomenon?
Isn't it a waste of time to ask about such a minor detail? It was not a very important point anyway, correct?
I'm afraid you are mistaken. If Adrian Andrews really is your client, as you claim, then your client should have had knowledge of Mr. Corda's death. If not, then that can only mean that Adrian Andrews was never your client at all. See, and this is why this is dumb. I don't like this. I think the game got too cute here, and this is a problem. Right, this moment right here, he should be shooting Maya in the head or whatever he does, because why would I do anything right now other than drag out meaningless conversation in this case? Because doing anything else, we've been told this entire time, can be a big problem for Maya.
How strange.
Yes?
Why is it that the attorney has yet to raise an objection at this absurd situation? Why is it that the attorney, my client's, well, not my client's, but why is it that Mr. Unguard's attorney brought up this situation in the first place? It makes no goddamn sense. Why am I not just shooting Maya in the fucking head right now?
I'm so frustrated. Phoenix, if the killer figures out what we're up to, we're in real trouble. Right, which is why it was dumb that the game, oh god, that's, yeah, I know. Mr. Edgeworth, I'm surprised. Oh, and now we're bringing up an objection after the point we brought up ourselves? You know you can't say things like that without any evidence. Oh, sorry. Well, that was an awfully weak objection for the two of you. Anyway, I'm positive there was a contradiction in that testimony. The prosecution requests further testimony concerning when the request was taken.
Very well.
Right now I have to buy us more time, while we wait for the items the killer left behind to get here. I just know that the very outcome of this trial lies with those items. Now this is just the game padding. This is all padding.
This request came to me, about a week ago. It was a request for my services on the night of the awards ceremony. We met at a certain bar to discuss and finalize a few matters. That is what occurred. I trust my memory and I believe I have made no mistakes.
So you physically met your client, huh?
That's correct. Meeting one's client is the first step to building trust, in my opinion.
I see. Well, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. One week ago, are you sure?
Yes, I am quite sure. I, of course, had my own preparations, and I was barely able to finish. When you request my services, Mr. Attorney, I hope you'll keep that in mind.
Please, stop.
In any case, my client this time had a very specific date and time in mind.
Specific date and time? You ask why on that specific night?
No, I try to fulfill all the conditions of my client's request. But as for why, I only had my suspicions.
Your suspicions, huh? Even if I asked about them, it would only be a guess. I see. That's fine then. So you physically met Adrian Andrews, right?
Of course I did.
What was that? Was it the brief pause? Probably just my imagination. I need to find something more definitive to catch this guy on. Can we believe that your testimony up to this point has been reliable? So your client was Adrian Andrews?
That is correct.
Well, he says the two of them met. If they did, then there shouldn't be anything wrong with the killer's testimony. Well, there doesn't seem to be anything strange this time around. You have to draw more information from him, but you can't draw a suspicion. If you can do that, you should be able to find a flaw in his testimony somewhere. Talk about a delicate balance. What are these suspicions you had? Why'd your client request that night?
I'm sure it was all for the bear.
Bear?
My client spoke of it. I'm sure there will be a bear-shaped figurine in one corner of his room. I would like you to retrieve that item for me.
Must be talking about this bear puzzle. Inside that figurine was a suicide note. Naturally, the victim brought it with him to his hotel room. He was planning to publicly disclose its contents at the press conference after all.
That's correct. If I had not done the job that night, I would not have known where that bear figurine was.
I see. Well, Mr. Wright, was the testimony just now of any importance? Testimony just now has made one thing clear. That is, the client knew the secret of the bear figurine. Why is everyone so quiet? Mr. Wright, I think all of us already knew that. Oh, really? Witness, please continue with your testimony. Pressing on this statement after they say, hey, maybe you shouldn't do that to every single thing, and then doing it later is so... it's bad. It's just bad. It's misleading. Witness, I would like for you to give us a few more details.
I always meet my clients as a matter of principle. I have never taken a request by telephone or mail.
And why is that?
Because I value the trust between a client and myself above all else. The only way to establish that is to speak to the client while looking them in the eye.
Well, Mr. Wright, was the testimony just now of any importance? It is very counterintuitive, and I hate counterintuitivity. Is that a word? Intuitivity? Counterintuitiveness is probably more appropriate. Of course, it was very important, Your Honor. Mr. de Killer had met his client before the murder, then it's unlikely he was mistaken. So you're saying that his client really was Adrian Andrews? I guess so.
You see, it is just as I said.
Yeah. I'm so lost. Who the heck am I supposed to be helping here? Calm down, Phoenix. Think carefully and relax. And because it's so counterintuitive, my mind is not anywhere near where it's supposed to be to try to figure this out. Like, oh, what evidence should I use? Because I pressed everything. Why he meets his clients is not important. That wasn't the point. Witness, please stop sidestepping my questions.
What do you mean by that?
My question was, did you really meet Adrian Andrews in person?
I've already told you, Mr. Wright, I did. It was only through talking with...
Ooh. Oh my. That's huge derp. But see, this is bad. This is bad. Doing this means that Maya should die because I fucked him up.
It was only through talking with him face to face that I began to trust him. That's why I thought I can trust this person as a client.
It's true what they say about talking face to face. Well, Mr. Wright, was this testimony of any importance? I heard what I think I heard just now. Then I think I've got him. Your Honor, I believe the testimony just now was the utmost importance. Oh, really? Well, if that's the case, witness, please include the statement just now in your testimony.
Very well.
I'd like to go over this one more time. You met Adrian Andrews at a bar and took the request at that time.
Yes, that is correct.
And that's when you thought he was trustworthy.
How many times must I repeat myself? Yes, that is correct.
I'm sorry, but that is an impossible tale.
What?
Shelly de Killer. You have never met the real Adrian Andrews.
Why would you say that?
Because you made one very big slip up. About her.
But what is the issue?
Bang! Maya's dead. Game over.
What did you just say? What did you say just now about her?
It's really weird that he never even would have had no inkling as to who Adrian Andrews was. Didn't watch the news to see what had happened. Seems like he was paying close attention to my trial, right? That's his whole thing. He's paying super close attention. And he never realized once that Adrian Andrews was a okay. If you had ever met Adrian Andrews in person, one look would have told you that she is a woman.
Oh,
well, that's it. He can't talk to him anymore. The transceiver's broken. Order, order in the court. Mr. Wright, what is the meaning of this? This witness testified to the following, that he always meets face-to-face with his clients when taking their requests, but he has never met Adrian Andrews in person. Yes, Your Honor, that is exactly the point. That means Mr. de Killer's client could not have been Miss Adrian Andrews. Ugh. However, why would the assassin make such a basic mistake? I believe it has to do with her name, Your Honor. A name? Yes, Adrian Andrews is, without a doubt, a very androgynous name. Yes, I see. And luckily for Mr. de Killer, the entire time he was on the stand, no one had stated Adrian Andrews' gender. So he simply picked the wrong pronoun. What? What is going on here? Shelly de Killer, this court demands an explanation.
I think somehow I must have mixed up this client with another.
Does that mean you remember something different now?
Yes, of course. Please, if you would all allow me to continue the test.
Oh, God. I know he's just gonna spit out more lies. Very well, but this time please give us the truth and nothing but the truth.
Yes, now I remember I took that request by mail. There have been times where I took my job without having met my client. The request was for the murder of Von Corridor and 2 or 3 other small things. When I saw the name at the end of the letter, I thought my client to be a man.
So you took this job through a letter. He didn't mention anything about a letter in his earlier testimony, which means he's definitely lying. Be careful, Phoenix. If you break the assassin's testimony completely, it's over for us. I know, I can't make him be suspicious, except for the fact that the game fucking tells me I don't have to do that when I... Oh. I think we're okay, like, we can do this. As long as he's standing there across from me, no matter how strong of a punch I throw, he'll counter it. Now then, let's begin the cross-examination. But didn't you just say that you always meet your clients?
Yes, I suppose I did say that. However, there are some clients for whom a meeting is simply not possible.
But you didn't meet your client this time.
No, I did not.
Oh, come now. Let's stop with this game of cat and mouse.
Using your silkiest voice is not going to work on me.
Alright then, just cough it up and confess. Mr. Wright, you can't badger a witness with such harsh words. You're a lawyer, so behave like one and present evidence instead of mindlessly yelling. Now then, do you have any proof that Mr. de Killer met with his client? Blah, 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 blah. 2 or 3 other things?
Yes.
What were these other things?
2 other things that have nothing to do with this case.
What should I do? Should I let him slide with that? It'd be really bad if I pushed his buttons the wrong way and he got mad. The killer sounds like one sharp man. I should try to find a better way to do this without making him suspicious. Let's continue with the testimony. Witness, if you please. You're saying that you never saw your client's face, not even once?
I did, once. It was when I went to give my client the figurine.
Yes, I see.
Well, Miss Andrews was wearing a mask at that time.
A mask? The Nickel Samurai mask, I'm guessing. Mr. Wright, what do you have to say about this? Do you have any problems with this piece of testimony? I think I can pull something out of what he said. It would be real bad if I did something and made him mad over something trivial. There are no problems with the testimony, Your Honor. Pretty much reached the end of our rope here. Huh? Seems like we're still okay to me. That's exactly what is so bad. The rate we're going, we're gonna end up completely destroying the killer's lie. If we do that, you already know how serious of a situation that will put us in. Oh yeah. All I can do now is pray that those items reach us in time. One thing does sort of stick out at me, Your Honor. Witness, I think you most definitely saw your client's face. Let's recall Mr. Power's testimony. At the reward ceremony, I went myself to Matt's room. Matt was standing there in front of his room, still in his Nickel Samurai costume. Matt gave the bellboy a tip. You received quite a large roll of cash from Mr. Unguard, and at that time, he was not wearing his Nickel Samurai costume.
Oh!
Order, order. Yes, now that you mention, I do remember that. Witness.
Yes, that night I did wander the floor as a bellboy. I received plenty of tips that night for carrying juice to the various rooms. Is that so wrong?
Huh?
The man who gave me that tip was not my client. He's probably just a very generous person.
I'm sorry, but sadly we are not nearly so generous here. I could receive such large rolls of cash by simply bringing things on trays. And why on earth would I be standing around prosecuting? The deja vu. And isn't his salary more than enough for one man? And where's your evidence that the large roll of cash was not in fact a tip? Come, Mr. Edgeworth, show me the money. What?
Mr. Attorney.
Yes?
You know, I think your line of questioning has been a little strange. In fact, I would say you don't seem to believe Mrs. Andrews is my client.
Oh no, it's not like that at all. I just think lies aren't a good thing, you know?
Well, I know and I agree. Lies are not a good thing at all. I think we're on the same page now, aren't we, Mr. Attorney? Remember, if I feel threatened in any way, I'm free to cut contact at any time.
I'm sorry, please forgive my foolishness. I felt like you were more this apologetic all the time. Anyway, I do not see a huge contradiction here. Therefore, you may continue witness. Whether or not they're related as cases for the court to decide.
Mr. Attorney, everything I've said is from the beginning has been nothing but beneficial to your client, which is why I wonder why it's pushing you to continue with this cross-examination. Would it be that you are planning to betray your own client?
That's...
I smell the stench of a backstabber, and should you turn out to be one...
Wait, uh-oh. This is really looking bad. I shouldn't press my luck. Alright, I have to think, is it worth pursuing? Witness, this is a very important matter. Please cooperate and tell us what these other jobs your clients requested were.
It's truly that important. I suppose I don't have much of a choice. The bear figurine.
The bear figurine?
After the assassination of the target, I was to find that figurine. I was told that this job was just as important as the actual killing.
And where was that figurine?
It was inside Mr. Corda's suitcase.
And then, what did you do next?
I handed it over to my client right away.
You gave it to your client. Interesting. This information certainly sounds important to me. Witness, please include what you just stated in your testimony.
As you wish.
I found this figurine at Mr. Enguard's mansion. If you gave it to Miss Andrews, then what was it doing there?
I was waiting for her there. That was also part of the plan to frame Mr. Engard, I'm sure.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any problems with this piece of testimony? Try this first. It's no use. As long as I can't put my finger on the central problem here, pressing this witness would be extremely dangerous. Appears Mr. White has no problems. Well then, witness, please continue. The only other option is to present... You can give him the bear? I can't see that as being super harmful if I try it. Now, I don't know if silence is good or really bad. It could be either at this point. Shelly de Killer, if you had really given the bear to Miss Andrews, then this item should not have been inside of it.
This item?
I see where you're going. Yep, that's where I'm going. Dude, shut up, Phoenix. Where's everyone going? Do I need to pack a suitcase? Your Honor, please think back to Miss Andrews' testimony. I was going to burn it for her sake. Even for a single minute, this bear had actually been in Miss Andrews' hands. I'm sure she would have taken the suicide note out and burned it. Okay, that makes sense. Order, order, order. So that's where you two are going. So by the very fact that this suicide note was still inside the bear tells us that your client didn't know how to assemble the puzzle, which means... It means, Your Honor, that it is impossible for Adrian Andrews to be the client. Oh ho! Dude, how do they keep putting that thing back together? Order, order, order! Ugh.
Mr. Phoenix Wright. I'm sure I mentioned this before. How do I hate traitors above all else? I think your cross-examination has clearly demonstrated something to me. You must wish to break your end of our agreement.
No, that's not.
That's enough. If that is your intention, there is only one more thing for me to do.
Wait, please.
Gentlemen, ladies, please excuse me. I have a matter that I must attend to.
No, please, not that. Please wait.
Mr. Attorney, bring this trial to a speedy end and I may stay my hand, otherwise...
Ugh. So the whole point of it was to drive him to this, to reach the breaking. It's not gonna help for me to continue bitching about it. I'm so frustrated. What in the Mr. Wright? Are you Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honor. I didn't understand this witness outburst just now. Do you think there's a need to hear more testimony, or is this enough? Well, we shouldn't, Edgeworth. We can't do this. We keep this up, Maya, she'll... The prosecution, What has come over everyone? Even you are. The prosecution rests. What is going on around here? The prosecution has no further questions, Your Honor. What? Well, I never thought I'd see the day. This is a most unusual situation. The prosecution rests with no further questions, then the prosecution has failed to uphold its stance. If that is the case, then even though I'm reluctant, I must believe that Mr. de Killer's testimony is accurate. That would mean that Shelly de Killer's client is Adrian Andrews. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor? If I end the trial here right now, then your client, Mr. Unveiled, would be declared innocent, and in his place, Adrian Andrews would be charged with murder. Miss Andrews be charged with murder. Prosecution has no further questions, so we will now hear the defense's final remarks. Bailiff, please bring the defendant, Mr. Matt Unveiled, to the stand. The items from de Killer's hideout didn't make it in time. We tried as hard as we could, but it looks like our time has run out. Can't believe it. The outcome now lies in your hands. Did that old guy finally decide? To be honest, I can't think of you as a truly innocent or good person. You have done enough evil to drive this woman to suicide. But, at least on the charge of murder, it would appear you are innocent. Ha! Is he serious? I guess even the old fuddy-duddy figured me out. Mr. Unveiled, what an atrocious lawyer I have, giving his own client up like this. Isn't that refreshing like a spring breeze, Trep? It's just as atrocious, don't you agree? Anyway, get on with it and pronounce me innocent already. Right, Mr. Lawyer? Should I side with injustice, or should I save Maya's life? Better get Unveiled a guilty sentence, okay? But if I did that, Maya will die. But if I say he's innocent, then Miss Andrews will be charged as the murderer. Do I say he's guilty or not guilty? Either choice I make, someone's life is going to end. He could be disbarred too if he said maybe. If he's like, my client's guilty, it all hinges on what I choose. Now then, Mr. Wright, let's hear the defense's final statements on this matter. The person who hired the assassin was Adrian Andrews. Then your client, Mr. Matt Unveiled, is innocent, even though, look at this, a very clearly evil man, swishing his evil juice around with his evil look and his evil scars across his evil one eye and his evil slick back hair. There's no need to ask, old man. After all, my lawyer is going to say what I want, aren't you, Mr. Phoenix Wright? Right. I can't do this, but I have to decide something. I can't count on the evidence to help me anymore. I have to listen to my heart. All right, that's how I want the game to decide. Not by the way the game has clearly established how things work, but now just a random chance. 50-50. He's guilty. He's fucking guilty. We are waiting for your answer, Mr. Wright. Matt Unveiled, your client deserves an answer. Maya, I'm sorry. Matt Unveiled is... Objection! Hell yeah! Franziska von Karma. God, she's a beast. She was just shot yesterday. You see now, don't you, Mr. Phoenix Wright? This is exactly why you should never take your eyes off that scruffy fool. Did you bring them? The final pieces. Do you have them? You should know better than to ask, Mr. Miles Edgeworth. Von Karma is perfect in every way. The evidence is here in perfect condition. Don't worry about Scruffy. He's fine, and his injuries are minor. All the items are inside this. What a filthy old coat this is. That's Gumshoes. I can spot his tattered rags anywhere. I apologize for its ugliness, but there was nothing else to wrap the items in. I fought long and hard this whole trial. That's what she said, all for what is inside that raggedy coat. I'm sure that inside that coat lies a crucial piece of evidence. Your Honor, inside that filthy coat are the defense's final pieces of evidence. Your final evidence? This trial is already over. All that remains is for me to hand down my verdict and bang this gavel. I do not believe that any evidence presented now would change the outcome of this trial. What? Your Honor, it is our duty to examine every piece of evidence down to the last. I request that Miss Von Karma be allowed to present these pieces of evidence. I suppose you are right, Mr. Edgeworth. I grant permission to do so. However, this one obvious rule applies here. These items do not bring up any new points, then they will not be accepted by this court. Now, Miss Von Karma, if you please. These pieces of evidence are items left by the de Killer during his escape from the police. It must have been in quite a rush. Yes, Your Honor. The killer left 3 pieces of evidence. Somewhere among the evidence we're about to see, there will be something that will turn this whole situation around like a miracle. Oh, do I have to pick the correct one? I'm sure of it. That is all we can hope for. The first item is a pistol. Does the killer pistol have anything to do with this case? I have a feeling the pistol is not. What? No. We should question. Is it question and then figure out if it's important? Because I thought the question is this important? Does the pistol have any relation to this case? We have yet to perform a ballistics test, so I can't say anything for certain. However, I believe it has something to do with this case, at least with me. That's the pistol that he used to shoot you, isn't it? That's what I believe, yes. Oh. I kept the bullet they removed from my shoulder as a sort of memento. That's hardcore. I'm sure it will be an excellent sample for the test. So that's the pistol that was used to shoot Francisca. It's probably not going to help us very much. Second piece of evidence is this videotape. I bet the killer took that from... Yeah, have you checked the contents of that tape? Unfortunately, there was no time to. Oh yeah? But I would speculate this tape is very important. Why would you say that? Because he came back to his hideout for it. The killer went back for it? That's right. It looks like he was trying to recover it. He injured 3 of the officers at the site. But somehow it looks like they managed to protect it from the killer. Shelly de Killer is no ordinary man. This last piece of evidence is the bellboy's uniform. Was that used during the crime? I am almost certain it was. There's even a pair of black leather gloves in one of the pockets. There's no doubt about it, the killer was wearing this on the night of the murder. There's one thing I found interesting about this uniform. And what is that? There's a button missing on this uniform. A button? It's a very unique button, I'm sure if we were to recover it. It would provide us with an interesting clue. That's all I have to present, Your Honor. It's just as I thought. And that, what is that, Your Honor? I'm sure were we under normal circumstances, these items from Shelly de Killer's hideout would be very important clues. However, our questioning is not who did the killing. It is who is the client. Yes, that is correct. And these 3 items do not tell us anything about that. Thank you for your hard work, Miss Von Karma. You may step down now. Wait, Your Honor. Please allow me to examine this new evidence. Overruled. This court has already had all the evidence it needs to hand down a verdict. Wonderful. Absolutely splendid. This judge is such a brilliant man, isn't he? Is this the end? Phoenix. I knew it. There's no such thing as a miracle in this world, is there? I think you're wrong. I think they do exist, but you have to make that miracle happen. You've come this far. You can't give up now. But no matter how you think about it, it's... Try, for my sake, just think about it for a second. There are 2 ways out of this situation for us. 2? The first. Make Ungard wish from the bottom of his soul for a guilty verdict. Huh? The killer will always place his client's wishes first. If Ungard himself wishes to be convicted, then he will let his hostage go. That may be true, but that's asking me to do the impossible. The second way. Force the killer to end his contract with Ungard. If de Killer were to no longer think of unguard as his clients, then he would let Maya go. Mia, that's even more impossible. He is a man who values his duty towards his clients above all else. I know both of these seem like impossible feats at first, but if you could make either one happen, it would truly be a miracle. Problem is, the judge has already said he doesn't need any more evidence. Pieces of evidence, the pieces he just shown, he's not accepting them. Phoenix, think things through from the other side. Isn't that what has always worked for us? The other side? You mean to turn things around? Phoenix, the judge said he doesn't need the evidence. In that case, then who does need it? Person who needs the evidence. The defense, prosecution, and the judge. We have all seen the pieces of evidence, and that is how we have come to know the truth. But there is one person who has yet to see them all. That person does not know the truth. The truth. It may be what will bring about the miracle in the end. No objections this time, correct? Now then, I will pronounce my verdict. Why don't we all respectfully sit back and listen, kids? I have already told you, Mr. Wright, this court does not need any more evidence. I'm not saying it is us that needs the evidence, Your Honor. Then, you want to show evidence to someone else? Yes, Your Honor. Please, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, for you to ask with such passion, I will grant you one chance. Oh, one chance? Please show your evidence to who you think is the right person. That's impossible to turn the situation around in one try. One try, that is all I will permit. I have tried to remember everything that has happened up to this point. Think, Phoenix, think. There must be a way to save Maya while taking Unguard down at the same time. Now then, Mr. Wright, let's not waste any more time. Who would you like to show the evidence to? It was the missing button, or the uniform with the missing button, the pistol. What was the other one? What was the other thing? The videotape. The videotape would blackmail. He was using that, Unguard was using that to blackmail de Killer. So we should show Shelly the information. You would think that if he knew that he was trying to blackmail him, that becomes a problem, and that would cause him to break his contract with him. So you would show him the videotape. I see. And now, tell this court what one piece of evidence you would like to show this person. I think there is some merit in showing this evidence to that witness. Bailiff, please bring in the transceiver from earlier. Alright, looks like I managed to convince him. Okay, so he's gonna be in court, so Maya, she's okay, right?
Didn't I tell you to concern yourself with bringing about a speedy end of this trial? Now, if I understand you correctly, you wish to show me one piece of evidence.
Yes, one is all I need. I have here a videotape. It was found at your hideout. I have heard you injured 3 officers in your attempt to get this back.
That was most regrettable. However, it was an order from my client. I was told to protect that videotape.
I thought so.
I'm afraid I seem to have failed in that regard.
You know the contents of this tape.
I was sternly told by my client to not watch it, so I have absolutely no idea.
Actually, you are on this tape.
Me?
There was a video camera hidden at the crime scene. Your actions were being recorded.
What?
Is that true, Mr. Wright?
Who was it that planted a camera?
Well, the only person who could have placed a camera at the scene of the crime would be your client, naturally. That was Adrian Andrews. Be quiet and listen, Your Honor. Yes, sir. Your client specifically specified a place and time for you, isn't that right?
Yes.
That was so they could film you.
I had no idea. Mr. Wright, why would my client do such a thing? I would like to know why.
Why did Matt and Guard film the crime scene? There's only one reason why your client would secretly film the crime scene. They wanted blackmail on you. Although that one was easier. Your client once told me something very interesting. We were talking about you and this is what they said. But I'm no weakling, I don't believe anyone, least of all assassins. Oh, come now, Mr. Wright. Assassins aren't above blackmail. Yes, that's where the video comes in. With that, I can keep him at bay and even blackmail him if I want. Your client didn't trust you at all. They were thinking of using this video to blackmail you. What do you have to say to that, Shelly de Killer? Gah. Oh!
Looks like I was being deceived from the very beginning.
Yes, by a natural. That is the kind of person they are. Your client is a person who only thinks of plots of how to use the people around them to protect themselves from any and all dangers that may arise. That is the true nature of your client. I have one question for the witness.
Yes?
You told us one thing numerous times during your testimony. You said that you detest traitors most of all.
Yes, that's right.
But what if that traitor was your own client? What would you do then?
That's obvious. I would break our contract in that case. And then, that client would become my next target. For the honor of the De Killer name, even if it takes an eternity, I would follow that person to the ends of the earth to exact my punishment.
I see. That's all I wanted to know. The traitor becomes the De Killer's next target. Ah, I get it. This is how we'll turn this case around.
Mr. Wright,
Yes?
my contract with my client is over as of now. I seem to have a new job on my hands. I will now return to you your precious item.
What the? I'm not an item! Maya, thought I'd never see you again. Oh, thank goodness. This trial appears to have come to its conclusion. However, I don't quite know. Ah. Miss Von Karma, where did that... She always has you in her sights. Where is she? She fucking shadow sniped him? No, I do believe it's time to finally hand up verdict. Mr. Ungard, looks like somehow you got what you wanted. You will finally receive the acquittal you wanted so badly, you should be happy. But before that, I would like to make one final statement. Sometime in the near future, one very betrayed assassin may appear before you. Needless to say, that man is very good at what he does. I'm sure you would understand what I meant if you watched this video. Help me. Well then, Your Honor, the verdict, if you please. Is this alright with you, Mr. Wright? We have finally reached the end of a very long battle. Whether he's convicted or acquitted, there's no escape for him now. Go on, Phoenix. Plead whichever way your heart tells you. Right, Chief. Mad on guard. Even though I am a lawyer, I cannot make your crime disappear. I think a guilty verdict is appropriate here. Me, my wonderful self, guilty? Even if you got an acquittal, the instant you set foot outside the detention center, your life would be in danger, no matter which way you look at it. You can't run away from your crime anymore. No, guilty. Ow, my God. As always, it looks like we have uncovered the real truth. We? I don't remember you helping out much in this. Mr. Edgeworth, how is Mad on God? I've left Miss Von Karma in charge of his incarceration. I'm sure he's getting a full-course meal of whip leather right about now. Very good. That was a close one, wasn't it, witness? Yes. I plan to pay my debt to society for my own crime, Your Honor. The first time I was called to the witness stand during this trial, all I felt was despair. She must be talking about the time Edgeworth really went after her. I guess she's trying to forgive him for what he did. But after that, when I was alone at the detention center, that's the first time I really saw myself for who I am. And today, when the two of you used your combined strength to convict Matt, I felt like I had finally been saved. Oh, that happy face! Oh, this is the first time I've ever seen her smile. I'm really happy that you two were in charge of this case. I really don't know how to express how I feel at this moment. This is the first time I felt comfortable with myself, with who I am. Thank you so much, everyone. It looks like we have it looks like we have resolved everything at last. I'm sorry, did I sound like Edgeworth there for a second? As for myself, there are still a few things I'm confused about, but everyone seems to be in good spirits, and that is good enough for me. That is all. That's good enough for me. The court is adjourned. You were great out there, Phoenix. What I did out there was right, wasn't it? This is the first time you've not gotten your client off. You got them a guilty verdict this time, but you have to look past all that to what's really important. You now realize that there is something more than just getting a not guilty, right? Yes, I understand now. Phoenix, think back for a second. Think to the moments when Miss Von Karma arrived with the final piece of evidence. Think about the incredible decision you had to make. Is he guilty or is he not guilty? Those are your choices then. And your answer spoke to what being a lawyer means to you. Right. Edgeworth, I have good news. Maya is now safe in police custody.
Really?
Pearls!
You're telling us the truth, right, Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes, she's quite safe. She's on her way here as we speak in a patrol car.
Oh, Mystic Maya's safe. You did it, you really did it, Mr. Nick.
Ow, she punches deceptively hard for a kid.
I believed in you. I kept saying to myself, Mr. Nick will save her. Mr. Nick will save her. Wow.
Thanks?
Oh,
What's wrong?
it's Von Karma.
About earlier, thanks. Ow! Why are you still smiling, Mr. Phoenix, Wright? You lost! Your perfect win record has now been crushed. And yet, you are still happy? I don't think you'll ever understand, Miss Von Karma. How dare you? Don't worry, she may in time. After all, I was like that myself until a year ago. Edgeworth? For my own personal victories and for guilty verdicts, I used every dirty trick in the book, and so my win record remains spotless. But a man appeared and stood fast against that selfish me. I fought him in my usual manner and tasted my first defeat. I felt like I had lost everything because of that. And then it was my turn to sit in the defendant's chair. And I was saved by that person I called my enemy. I couldn't forgive myself for all that happened. So I left the prosecutor's office. And I left that note. Prosecutor Miles Edgeworth chooses death. And then when I wanted to come back, they just let me come back and take over this case immediately. As though I'd never done that.
As well you should have. A prosecutor ashamed himself with defeat should crawl into a hole and die.
Oh, like your dad. Ooh. Well, that was not what happened. After all, after I left the prosecutor's office, I finally came to realize something. And it was in that moment of clarity that everything began to change.
What foolish nonsense. Foolish fool.
We prosecutors use anything we can to attack the defendant, and every time we did so, no matter how desperate the situation, instead of giving up like most people, that man would hold strong with his undying faith. And then, before I knew it, I began to trust in that man as well.
What? You trusted your enemy?
It doesn't matter how many underhanded tricks a person uses, the truth will always find a way to make itself known. The only thing we can do is fight with the knowledge we hold in everything we have. Erasing the paradoxes one by one. It's never easy, we claw and scratch for every inch, but we always eventually reach that one single truth, this I promise you.
The truth!
Yes, that's exactly why prosecutors and defense attorneys exist, but I'm sure you knew that already, didn't you, Wright? That's why you couldn't forgive me, this man who went into hiding, isn't that right? This man who only had his sights on victory, who ran away into the night.
Ah, is Mr. Edgeworth right, Mr. Nick?
You really let me down. When you disappeared, I felt betrayed. The reason I decided to become a lawyer to begin with was because I believed in the things you said to me all those years ago. And you betrayed your own words. That's why 1 year ago, I made up my mind.
This case was good. It was a good case. The problem is that it went on way too long. The premise, all the stuff behind it, that was interesting. It just needed to end earlier. The ending was great, but they could have made that happen with much less padding. I decided that the Miles Edgeworth I knew had died. At least that's what I told myself.
You pathetic fool!
It's Von Karma!
I don't want to hear the wretched whimpering of a disgraced loser.
Von Karma is someone who's destined to be perfect. You know, her state of delusion is truly astonishing and impressive. She keeps talking about this being perfect, and it's like, you've lost twice to me. In fact, you've never beaten me. He beat me this time. He's 1-2 against me. 1-3 against me. But you're 0-2 still. Miles Edgeworth, you are no longer worthy. You are no longer worthy of being a Von Karma. And neither am I. It's over. It's all over. Francisca threw something on the ground just now. This is an electromagnetic receiver. Isn't that the thing she used to track Detective Gumshoe? I'll return it to the precinct later. There's something else. Isn't that Miss Von Karma's whip? I'll never set foot in another courtroom again. I'm sure that's what she's saying by this action. You should keep this right. Yes, sir. Okay. Nick! Maya! Mystic Maya! Oh, that's sweet. What a nice picture. I'll tell you what, Phoenix got some broad shoulders, man. Oh, Nick, I knew you'd come through. You got unguarded convicted like I knew you would. And on top of that, you even rescued me. Well, of course I did. You know I would never desert you. We sure pressed our luck this trial. You're really lucky to be standing here. Whatever. Look, it's over, okay? Besides, if I did croak, I'd just come back and haunt you like a bad ghost through Pearly. Is this really that easy to do something like that? Thanks a lot, Nick. Don't mention it. Maya. Oh, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm really relieved you're alright. Hey, it's like you've made some real progress, Mr. Edgeworth. Well, I suppose I'm a little different from who I was a year ago. I'm really hungry. Burgers! I think it's time to get out of this depressing place. Huh? Where are we going? Food, Nick. Food, grub, chow. I'm starved. I'm so hungry, even you look like a nice juicy burger on a bun to me, Nick. You think I look like a burger? I mean, I have buns, but I'm a prime rib at least. Come with us, Mr. Edgeworth, please. If you insist. So how about we hit up our usual burger joint? Don't be silly, Nick. Huh? This case messed up that awesome evening and got in the way of my gourmet food. So I decided that we're gonna make up for it by having another feast. Another feast? Come on, Nick, food! We're gonna go eat that rotten food that's been sitting there for days? Hey, pal, sorry to keep you guys waiting. Oh my god, you should be in the hospital still, Mr. Concussion. Gumshoe, are you alright? Yeah, but I'm really embarrassed, and quite frankly, I'm having a hard time standing in this room with so many bright lights. I should probably go to a darker room to lie my head. Yeah, but I'm really embarrassed. I didn't think I would hit a telephone pole of all things. A telephone pole? Then was it a red light that got him? You did it again, city boy. I felt like my dear old heart was gonna give out on me, and I ain't joking. Yeah, it was more exciting than the very last episode of The Steel Samurai. Thanks. Now look at here, Mr. Snooty Prosecutor. Don't you reckon you bullied Mr. Wright too hard? If you don't start being a lot nicer to him, he might just kick it tonight even. I'll keep that in mind. Well, come on now, everyone gather around. Y'all gonna get your picture taken by a genuine professional photographer. Looks like Lada brought herself a new camera. Well, pal, at least we can put this messy case behind us now. Come on, tonight's all about eating, so let's chow down. Amen to that, pal. Amen. That's true. He probably doesn't even like acknowledge that he has a concussion. Like his mind is just like, oh yeah, sure, we're not concussed. What even is a concussion? You know, when you think about it, you were the one who saved the day, detective. Huh, me? You really think so? He's right. If it wasn't for the 3 items you took, I think this trial would have had a very different ending. Well, you know, it's... Oh. Huh? Wait. That's odd. When I ran off with the things from the killer's hideout, I was sure I took 4 things in total, sir. What? 4? Yeah, I'm sure I put one of the items in my coat pocket. There was a 4th item? Oh, come on, y'all, it's over. But whoo boy, I tell you realize something else. Between getting accused of murder and getting kidnapped, never a dull moment with you, huh? You think? Why does she look so happy about that? Being shut away for 2 whole days, weren't you scared? Yeah, it was really scary. I felt so hopeless. So to keep my mind off things, I drew a picture. Sounds like you had it rough, gal. So where's this picture of yours? Yeah, I want to see it. I want to see Mystic Maya's picture. You know, I don't know where it went. Aw, that's too bad. Well, it's all right. Wasn't anything important anyway. It sure is nice to finally see them both smiling again. What is it, Edgeworth? This thing's picking something up. Ah, that's Miss Von Karma's receiver. Thanks to her, I had the most awful experience of my life, sir. Can't believe she stuck a tracking device on me. That's odd. Even though you're standing right here, tracking device seems to be in a different location. Oh, it's probably busted or something, sir. Well, doesn't matter. I'm afraid it's about time for me to excuse myself. I still have some work to do. Huh? But Mr. Edgeworth, you haven't eaten anything yet. You've eaten way too much, you glutton. I had fun tonight. No, if you excuse me. That's like the highest praise he could give anything. I had fun. Wait, what? I just want to say thanks, Edgeworth. You really saved me out there. If anyone should be saying thanks, should be me, right? I feel like words alone aren't enough here. I wonder if there's anything I can give him to express how I feel. Oh, but I want to keep the whip. What's this? Hey, thank you. It's all thanks to you two. You and her. You don't need to thank me. I was only doing my job. Looks like Mr. Edgeworth has left, Mr. Nick. Hey, Mystic Maya. Yes, Pearly? I guess you two can go back to being all lovey-dovey, right? You and Mr. Nick, I mean... Pearly, would you cut it out already? You're embarrassing me.
Anyway, so who's paying for this lovely dinner party?
As if you need to ask. Everyone say thank you to Nick. Oh, that's fine. The cocaine I've been pushing on the side will more than handle this dinner. Oh yeah, I'm kind of at the point where I can't even buy instant noodles, pal. So I kind of already put your name on the bill. Huh? Yeah, I got me a situation just like that myself. There's this camera shop in this hotel, see? I just bought myself this good old beauty here. It better be anyhow for $30,000. Huh? Actually, I reckon you bought it for me since it's on your tab and all. Isn't this great, Mr. Nick? We spent all your money. Yeah, Nick. Why do I suddenly feel like screaming? That client I just found guilty isn't gonna pay me, that's for damn sure. Oh, you don't need to hold back now, you hear? Yeah, pal, time to let it all out. This is going to be the first time I hear the real you. Go on. It's been a while since I hear you say it. I've been busy being a hostage and all. All right, then. If you say so. Objection! Really came through for me, Nick. I had to hide that letter, but I knew you'd find it. I really feel like I've been living on the edge lately. I mean, I've escaped death 3 times now. Pretty cool, huh? Feel like a pro. I'm so happy that you can save Mystic Maya, Mr. Nick. And I'm so happy for the 2 of you. Speaking of which, I think this hotel is a popular place for honeymooners, so I sort of made reservations for the 2 of you just in case. Well, pal, it looks like something. Mr. Edgeworth had a long talk with the chief, and he got me reinstated for my sake. Or he said things like, letting that one go is bad for all of society. I knew it. Crashing headlong into everything is the only way to live, pal. Why am I having shortness of breath? I'm Maggie Bird. I'm retiring this uniform today, sir. I'm going to be a waitress from now on. And bring smiles and joy to people who come by the restaurant, sir. Completely forgot about her. Hope you'll stop by sometime, Miss Wright. I like Maggie. She's cool. She's a little cutie. Shipped so hard before. Yes, are you here to visit a patient? I'm Director Hottie. Ho ho. Recently, yes. That girl, you know, I haven't seen her around. Yes. But I remember if I even laid so much as an eye on her, it would go crack. Yeah. That whip. Didn't even matter if I got whipped, though. Yes. Oh. What's this dread? It's just an ordinary electric razor recharging on the stand. I can't believe this. Really? How long did they plan on making me do this? Ah, but it's Edgy Pooh's idea, so it means it must be have a deep, hidden meaning. But why do I get the feeling they wouldn't forget about me, would they? I would never. It was never like this in the old days. Everyone called me Queen Wendy, treat me like royalty, and man, to go and feel pain on my heel, they're gonna feel a burn. Speaking of burn, playing with fire is very dangerous. Because of that, through the warehouse, there to store the scenery burned out. I appreciate everything you and Mr. Edgeworth did for me from the bottom of my heart. Oh, that's right. I received a letter from Miss Von Karma. You said that after I get out, I should feel free to consult her about anything at all. I'm really thankful to have met everyone. That's the happiest person in jail I've ever seen, and it's just so wholesome and heartwarming.
Oh, I love Adrian.
It's been difficult for me in this country as well. As such, I will take a short leave of absence. If you'd like to request my services, please be sure to visit my homepage. May we both be blessed with longevity.
He's already been blessed with longevity. On the dark web. Where are you going, Francisca?
How did you know I was here?
With this? That's... I heard you were planning things on a certain person. Things like tracking devices in his coat, for example.
That's just like you. I only planted it there because he was always wearing it. This filthy, drab coat of his. I don't know how it ended up in my luggage, but it's going in the trash, I promise you that.
Oh, that's right. Speaking of that man, he told me something very interesting. When I ran off with the things from the killer's hideout, I was sure I took 4 things in the total, sir.
4 things?
It seems he put the last one in his coat pocket.
He put it in here. It doesn't matter anymore. The case is already over.
What are you going to do now?
That's none of your business.
Are you running away?
Shut up. You don't understand a thing. You can't possibly understand what it means to be Manfred von Karma's daughter.
Francisca.
So many expectations from everyone around me, expectations I must fulfill. I'm expected to win no matter what, and failure, such a thing is not an option for me. My father was a genius, there's no doubt about that, but me, I'm no genius. I've always known that.
Oh my god. She's undressing herself and mentally, and this is interesting. This is really interesting.
But I had to be one, I had to.
You may not be a genius like your father, but you're a prosecutor. You have been and always will be.
No, I'm not. Not anymore. I've even thrown my whip away.
Speaking of that, Wright gave me this to hold on to. Right, you knew something like this would happen, didn't you? I'm going to say this again. We prosecutors do not fight for personal honor or pride. I hope you will think deeply about what you should be striking down with that whip.
You haven't changed a bit. You've always left me alone and walked on ahead without me. Miles Edgeworth, I've always hated you. And then finally my chance to take revenge on you arrived. If I could win against that man, if I could make Phoenix Wright bow down in defeat, then this girl you left behind would have risen higher than you. And that was supposed to be my revenge.
I see.
You know, I can't do it. I can't change who I am. I can't throw away everything I've been until today.
I believe you can, just like how Adrian Andrews did.
Adrian Andrews?
You were going to use her during the trial, right? But you were dependent on your father by using his tactics, isn't that right? Today, you chased after me after I had left you behind all these years. And that's why we're standing here now, side by side. But I have no intention of stopping. If you say you are going to quit your walk down the prosecutor's path, then this is where we part ways, Francisca von Karma.
Oh my god. I am Francisca von Karma. Don't think I'm gonna walk in your shadow forever. Our battle begins now. So you better prepare yourself, Miles Edgeworth.
This does forgive the existence of the blue blood. Her and Adrian put together forgives the existence of anything. It might even forgive the existence of Chapter 5 of the first game. So we don't know what it is yet, right? Oh.